Hello everybody and welcome to Sunburned Albino Plays and Voices the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. Now I was mistaken for a while, I thought this was like a brand new game. Apparently it is an import from Japan that they have like remastered. Given that the copyright thing says 2015, I assume that's when it came out in Japan. But we're getting to play it now in 2021. New spin-off title takes place like 100 years, or like maybe 1,000 years, I don't know, a bunch of years before the actual events of the Ace Attorney trilogy that we all know and love, with some different characters, you know, sort of in the beginning of right when lawyers and trials and stuff are becoming invented, so it's all new. Let's do it, man. I'm ready to play.
Of Japan. After opening its doors,
yes,
the cultural transformation brought great waves of Western influence to this far eastern island nation.
This game's got some scripted, spoiled cutscenes. Not spoiled. What was I trying to say? Scripted, narrated cutscenes.
And some was swept away by the tide.
But the vast majority of the gameplay is still, you know, like text-based, so. That man died.
But for one man, the turbulence of that era was just the beginning of an extraordinary story.
Why do you have the gun in your hand if you didn't kill him? Like, this one seems a little cut and dry. Everybody watched it happen, and yeah, like, literally the moment afterwards. Like, what, did he kill himself, and then you just, like, quickly took the gun out of his hand and stared at him? 22nd November, 8:43 a.m., Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendant's Antechamber 5. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe this is happening. How can it be that just beyond the doors to this quiet little chamber is the highest court in Japan, waiting to decide my fate? What? Oh, no, nothing. Save your glass, murderer. Sorry. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a second-year student at the Imperial Yume University. 3 days ago, I somehow found myself in the middle of a horrifying incident. And now, here I am, awaiting my trial. That's enough! Oh, that was you? Never mind. He's not obliged to listen to such abuse, officer. And who are you? I'm this man's lawyer. I'll be defending him today. Lawyer? Yes, and until the judge has given his verdict on the case, no one has the right to treat him as a criminal. So you will hold your tongue. Technicalities. Look at you, you haven't even graduated yet. I'm still figuring out people's voices. As we learn more about their personalities, we will adjust accordingly. And yet I still seem to know better than you how a court officer should behave. Yeah, we should probably make that a little lighter. Right, Ryunosuke? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. What are you apologizing to me for? Oh, no, I suppose that wasn't my fault. But really, Kazuma, I never meant to drag you into this. I'm sorry. There you go again, apologizing. Just like always. Though I must say, you've been all over the newspapers these past few days. Yume University professor murdered in cold blood by student. But obviously, you didn't actually do it, did you? Of course not. You have to believe me. I didn't do it. I could never murder someone. Then there's nothing to worry about. Straighten yourself up. Hold your head high. You mean... I believe you. I know you're innocent, Ryunosuke. Kazuma Asugi. Okay, don't say it like that.
Asogi!
Kazuma Asogi, my best friend. Also in his second year at Yume University. But he's far more clever than I. A star student, in fact. He's even a qualified lawyer. Impressive, considering he's still an undergraduate. It's not that impressive. The very concept of lawyers is only a few years old. Here in Japan, anyway. My qualifications don't mean much. Yet. You said exactly the same thing 3 days ago. But I'm proud to have a friend like you, Kazuma. Truly. 3 days ago. Yes, that's when all this started. Congratulations, Kazuma! It looks like you're going to get to study abroad at last! I know, I've been forever dreaming of this day. Finally, those government elites have acknowledged my academic achievements and successes in court. So you'll be representing Japan as you immerse yourself in the most sophisticated legal system in the world. I'm really happy for you, and proud as your friend. There's not a soul in the university who doesn't know Kazuma's name. He's a living legend. It's like there's some mysterious aura billowing around his temple. I want to bring about change in our own legal system. That's why I have to cross the ocean to see the real thing with my own eyes. The heart of the British Empire. I wish I could see it too. Then come with me. We'd have a wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's City of London together. If only it were that simple. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a while longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. Partner. I played the first, 10 minutes of this just to see, who was showing up and maybe try and figure out some voices ahead of time. I did not succeed. I could not land on almost anything for anybody, so we'll just see how it goes. It was straight after that. I mean, I'm phoning in, just the regular Phoenix Wright voice for Ryunosuke, after all. Might as well,
Asogi, may I have a word?
That's right, I've seen this man before. He makes me think of, Sully from the Uncharted games. Professor, I didn't know you were coming.
Well, this case has personal significance to me, but never mind that for now. Asogi, you should go immediately to the judge's chambers.
To His Excellency's chambers? Why?
He was looking for you before. You advocating for the defense in this trial was a sudden decision. It seems there may be some confusion about procedures today as a result.
Who is this man? I feel as though I've seen him at university before. I see. I'll go at once then. I shall accompany you. All right then, Ryunosuke. I'll see you in the courtroom. Yes, thanks, Kazuma. Yes, let me bow to you as well. Oh, this is awkward.
If I may?
Yes, sorry?
You must be the defendant. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
My name is Eugen Mikutova. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University.
Ah, Professor Mikutova. I've heard that name from Kazuma before. As I recall, he's been pushing to get the government to agree to Kazuma studying abroad.
Asogi has told me about you. You and he are best friends, I understand. As such, I feel you should know.
Know what?
Well, as you've no doubt heard, Asogi has been granted permission to go and study in Great Britain. However, if he should fail to defend you in today's trial, I'm afraid that permission will be revoked and never granted again.
What? Nani?
Ah, as I suspected, you were unaware of this. I had a feeling Asogi may have chosen not to tell you.
Oh, don't give me no controller battery level right now. At least in this game, if it goes dead, it literally makes no difference. He's agreed to defend me, knowing that if he fails, his dreams will be shattered? But I don't understand. Why would the government do such a thing?
The administration has to choose from a large number of applicants for overseas study. It's very difficult to persuade them to grant permission, even in the most favorable of circumstances.
I don't believe it. But I didn't do it. I swear it. I'm not a murderer.
I'm sure that's true. Nevertheless, I can assure you that proving your innocence will be no easy task. You see, there are certain peculiarities about today's trial.
Sorry? What do you mean?
You'll soon understand once proceedings get underway.
But then what should I do?
Well, naturally, I'm not going to suggest doing anything that could lead to a conviction.
Right, so...
As soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens, you must answer before anyone else. You must say, "I do."
I do? But what will the question be? Surely not, do you accept the accusations brought before you?
Of course not.
Defendant! Court is about to begin! Proceed to the courtroom at once!
It would seem our surreptitious discussions are to be cut short. So, allow me to summarize. Kazuma Asugi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, as the defendant, the final decision is yours.
What are you waiting for? Do you want to be found guilty for failing to appear? Get moving! There's no point in anyone advocating for the likes of you anyway!
This is it. If this trial goes badly, Kazuma's dreams of studying abroad are over. And what's more, I'll be found guilty of murder.
And so, with absolutely no idea of what lay ahead, I embarked on that unforgettable trial. My one and only chance of proving my innocence. The trial that would decide my destiny. Okay, for a second with the narration, I thought it would be like third person, but I guess it's him doing that too.
22nd of November, 9 a.m., Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 2. So this is a courtroom.
Damn, he is tweaking out right now.
The Supreme Court of Judicature. Judicature.
Judicature? Judicature.
No court in the land has more power. I don't much like the look of those people sitting in the public gallery. Lots of military and other uniforms in there. The powers that be have demanded that this be a secret trial. A secret trial? A trial that's closed to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend. What? But why? It'll become clear in time, but for now... You need to concentrate, Ryunosuke. It's about to begin.
I'm thinking for him I go like 30% of the way to Miles Edgeworth. Like there's a hint of that in that voice. But he's definitely a different kind of person entirely. I just feel like he would still have just like a little smoothness to it.
The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency.
As is the defense.
Before we begin, there is one point of order I would like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made a last-minute request for a change of advocate.
That's correct, Your Excellency. I made the request myself.
Normal procedure is for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to trial. As this is an unusual circumstance, I am obliged to ask for final confirmation now.
Okay, he's half Russian by accident now.
Who advocates for the defendant in this trial?
This is it. This must be the question. Who's going to defend me? That's the question the professor meant. But then, if I say I do... I need to answer quickly. What should I do? Answer I do, of course. Your Excellency, no confirmation is needed. As I'm standing here beside the defendant, I hope it's clear who will advocate for his defense. Yes! Heil?
What is the meaning of this unruly outburst?
I would like to inform the court that I, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, will be defending myself!
You'll be... What?
What are you playing at, Ryunosuke? Professor Mikutova told me everything, just now before the trial. He did what? He said that your dreams of studying abroad would be dashed if you were to lose. How sad. It means you don't have faith in me. You think I won't be able to get you off. Alright, no one clip that. No, it's not that, really. It's just that... Well, on the off chance that things don't go well for me, I couldn't bear to be the reason that you... Yes. I knew that's how you'd feel. Which is exactly why I decided not to tell you. Professor Mikutova shouldn't have stuck his nose in.
Very well. The court hereby recognizes the defendant's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial.
Well, well. Does the accused admit defeat already? Renouncing his own counsel? Really?
Make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent he's confident he can speak for himself. Isn't that so, Naruhodo-san? Oh, yes, exactly. Exactly what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all. In fact, my mind's a complete blank. I realize you're in charge now, but still, try not to look so bewildered.
Well, for a mere university student to be brought before the Supreme Court... You must have perpetrated a most heinous crime indeed.
As you are no doubt aware, this is the Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. Accordingly, the very highest standards of conduct are expected of all present. Do I make myself clear, Defendant Naruhodo?
Yes, Your Excellency.
It is therefore my duty to assess your competence for the task you have undertaken.
My competence? What does that mean? He's questioning your ability to do the job. Well, he can't be questioning it more than I am.
So, let's start with the very simplest of questions.
Oh, yes.
Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case.
Well, that's easy enough. I've heard his name more times than I'd care to remember. But... wait. I'm so nervous I can't even remember that! What was it again? Ryunosuke. Let me guess, your mind's gone blank? You know me so well. All the relevant information for this case can be found in the court record. But I can't even find that! It's simple. You can access the court record with a press of R1. Oh yes, R1, I've heard of this button. If you ever find you've forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there. I just have to press R1 for the court record? Alright, there's no time to lose. This is the list of evidence you've collected. Now try switching to people instead with R1. You'll find details about the victim in here. When you're done, just press circle to go back. So remember, everything to do with the current case can be found in the court record. Okay, let me actually look at that now. Proof that I'm a student at the Imperial Yume University. I always wear it on the collar of my uniform jacket. Post-mortem report, death occurred a little after 2 p.m. and was caused by loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Alright, and then people. Kazuma Asogi, 23 years old. Yeah, alright. This dude's 4 years younger than I am, sure. He's my best friend, and despite being a student, a qualified defense lawyer as well. Eugen Mikutova, medical school professor at the Imperial Yume University. Okay, he's an authority in forensic medicine. Dude, this dude is older than this dude. Dude, this dude is older than this dude. Dude. John H. Wilson. The victim of this case, he was a visiting professor of medicine at Yume University from the British Empire. Damn, John Watson? Already dead? Unfortunate. What is Herlock Sholmes gonna do about that? When he introduces himself later on. Now you'd better not keep His Excellency waiting any longer. Go on. Find the victim in the people section of the court record, then press triangle to present. Try it now.
Yes!
Yeah, it's this man, Your Honor. The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. John Hamish Wilson?
Well, at least you can remember the name of an esteemed member of your own university.
Dr. Wilson was a visiting professor from England, invited to Yume University 3 years ago.
Indeed, which is the reason why this case has such profound implications. The British Empire is at present our country's most valuable foreign ally, and as most of you will be aware, we have just signed a new treaty together after lengthy negotiations.
There can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation.
And yet, despite these delicate circumstances, the blood of an Englishman has been spilt on our soil. You two are both undergraduates at the Imperial Yume University, are you not? Murdering a professor from the very institution that provides your education. Have you no honor?
But I didn't do it.
This case is coming under great scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. The court therefore wishes for a speedy resolution to this matter.
In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policymakers. And you're a convenient and expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime. So that's why this trial has these unusual peculiarities, is it? Exactly. Our government needs to convict someone as quickly as possible. All because the victim was an Englishman. Wow, that is... wow. Yes, Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. He said shit like Boulder Dash and Cheerio. But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. The fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime. And I was holding the gun that shot him. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. The British Empire. Wow, it's incredible to think... Wait. I've seen that man at university. I'm sure he's a visiting professor from Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still. I should go and say hello. So I went over to the professor's table and introduced myself to Dr. Wilson.
And now he's dead. Now then, let me pose my next question to you, Defendant Naruhodo.
Yes, Your Excellency.
How did this professor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson, lose his life? State before the court the cause of death.
The cause of death? Well, obviously that was, Ryunosuke. Remember that in court, every assertion must be backed up by evidence. By evidence? But how? Find the piece of evidence that shows the professor's cause of death and select Present. Do it now. Is it the post-mortem report?
Yes!
Present! I mean, present. Well... According to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhagic death due to gunshot trauma.
Learn to read, you imbecile! That's the post-mortem report, I take it?
Sorry, yes, that's right. The post-mortem report. In the West, a doctor dissects corpses to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. Oh, they didn't do that in Japan for a while? But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusions that way. Oh, I see. As long as I'm not going to be tested on any of this later.
This is a so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. You can clearly discern scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the powder explosion. In other words, we should assume that the victim was shot at close range.
Thank you, counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record.
The photographic print of the victim has been entered into the court record. He was shot from the front in the chest and subsequently died, but the bullet did not pass through nothing. So there's gonna be some way that I contest that later when someone tries to assert that for sure. So that's a photographic print. Well, that's something I've never seen before. It's clearly superior to a drawing. The detail is incredible.
Very well. I am satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial.
Certainly, Your Excellency. So, without further ado, in order to better apprise the court with the facts of the case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness, who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened.
Oh, this is it then. I think I may have worked out what the professor had in mind. The professor? You mean Dr. Mikutova? Yes. Clearly you're the defense lawyer today, not me. But that doesn't mean... Well, I can still act as your assistant. Ah, of course! When he was speaking with me before, he simply said, Kazuma Asugi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Maybe, but any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is, rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats. Only if you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stares first. Oh, who's this?
Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please.
Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I am the head waiter at a Western-style restaurant called Le Carnaval.
Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some,
It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me.
Well, it really should.
As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, an Occidental eatery, 3 days ago.
Understood. Hosonaga-san, you will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident.
At once, sir.
And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please.
Oh, perspiring maybe, but aspiring?
It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We have a few diners at that time of day. The lunchtime rush was over, and there were only 3 tables still occupied.
That fits in with my memory of it too. There was hardly anyone else in the place.
It was when I was in the kitchen, putting away crockery and cutlery. A gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair, and standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student.
Yes! Hold on! Let me just clarify something here. While I did pick up a gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him.
Objection! I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness's report of what he saw, you amateur.
But...
The next time you interrupt at an inappropriate time, you will be penalized, Defendant Naruhodo.
Don't worry, Ryunosuke. You'll have your chance to fight back. For now, we must just quietly listen to the witness.
If I may confirm one point, waiter, standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today?
Yes, without question.
I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim?
No. There was no one else around that table but the deceased Englishman and the university student.
Huh? Wait, what did he just say? There was no one else around that table? What's the matter, Ryunosuke? That's just not right! When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello, there was a woman sitting opposite him at his table. Really? And that's not something the waiter could have missed. I'd been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? We should... interject anyway.
Yes!
Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table.
Dear me, what are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all?
But I'm sure of what I saw. Hosonaga-san, is there any chance you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy. No. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Why would you have that? Please, have a look if you'd like to. Let me see. A sketch of the establishment's layout drawn by yourself, I presume? That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well... Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. Something certainly seems to have shaken him. The waiter's business card has been entered into the court record.
So, praise the sun. So, the court has now heard a precis of the case.
Yes, at the moment the gunshot was heard in the restaurant. The only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we are looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo.
Yes, Your Excellency.
If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you.
In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I called this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court.
Unsworn, so like they're allowed to lie still?
But I must warn the defense, if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial, the prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime.
What do you think I should do, Kazuma?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm going to be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual, about these peculiarities. You've said it, Professor Mikutova said it, and so is the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw that trust back in my face. Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. Are you just going to abandon that duty? Are you going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet, Ryunosuke. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Then we'll see just how decisive this evidence really is.
Indeed. Prosecutor Aochi, please continue with...
I just realized.
Prosecutor Aochi!
Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be.
Ugh.
In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever. The prosecution calls its next witnesses.
Very well. Officer, bring forth the witnesses at once.
But we did not even get to refute what the first dude said. Oh, what the hell is going on here?
Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. The Great Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant A.S. Anosa reporting for duty, sir.
Myself, I find employ as a purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the efflorescence of our nation, Nippon, and conduct my trade from Rasute, a humble premises in the 2nd District. Curio Gorikuta, at your service.
An antique dealer and a soldier. What an unusual pairing.
Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question.
They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned.
Myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon, and not infrequently converse with interested parties regarding the curios with which I make my business.
God, it's hard to do his voice. I can't understand a word that old man is saying. He's an antique dealer, and it sounds like he's a regular at Le Carnaval. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets Le Carnaval because it's a high-class restaurant with a rich clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer.
Now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct? Affirmative!
Oh, you look... okay, yeah.
The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war, sir. It was that black-uniformed rogue infantryman over there who unloaded his firearm, sir.
This man's as impossible to understand as the other.
Wow, Luigi.
But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said. So, this is the decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead. Yes. Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start.
Now, the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred.
One. Sir, yes, sir. Standing by, ready to report, sir.
Unsavory memories of a most acerbic afternoon.
What the witnesses saw.
I was ingesting a regulation beef steak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man.
Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman.
At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black-uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel...
Oh, that's the part that does not work.
I was on my hands and knees, investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious carrier.
Well, so you, Sergeant Nosa, actually witnessed the vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim.
Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. That wicked university cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy.
What times we live in, when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of day.
But this is ridiculous! I didn't shoot anyone!
Is that really true, Ryunosuke?
Yes, all I did was pick up the gun that I saw lying on the floor. After I'd said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then, when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant, when I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it, so I bent down, and just as I was picking it up,
well, if that's the truth, there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was.
there is?
Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witnesses.
Cross-examine?
Do it now!
As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It is time to bring this despicable student to justice.
Certainly, the testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdict of this trial.
Hello?
What in the name of the Emperor is the meaning of this outburst?
I am, the defense demands its right to a cross-examination.
Dear me, dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaki headband boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic.
Huh? How did he know?
The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant.
Dump.
Kazuma is so commanding.
Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses.
All right, this is where the battle really begins, Ryunosuke.
But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination.
Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witnesses' statements.
How?
You didn't fire the gun, which means what that soldier said has to be a lie.
Well, yes, but
It's just a case of proving it, and the key to doing that is evidence.
right. Evidence.
All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now let's go, Ryunosuke! Don't let them beat you!
All right then. It's all or nothing.
Damn, his hands made no noise at all. Alright, I already know who's lying. I was ingesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a casual discussion with the old man, yeah. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment a firearm was discharged, I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. This is false, because, of the photograph of the victim.
Yes!
Hello?
What? What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Thrusting some photographic print in my mustache?
Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes! There's a clear inconsistency here.
Tisk, what nonsense! What can this print possibly tell us that we don't already know?
Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth.
I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom.
This is so frustrating.
Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court.
Kazuma, what?
What are you talking about?
It's apparent from a single glance at the photographic print presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement.
What?
Sergeant Iesanosa.
Yes, sir. What, sir?
The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel.
Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir.
But no, that just can't be.
And why not, cadet?
Because... Take a close look at the print. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest.
Wah!
Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it?
Well, there.
I'm sorry, do you have a baby on your back? What the... What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it down again. Certainly there is a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa?
Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious Le Carnival steak, sir. What?
The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Iesanosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all.
That's absurd.
I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. Oh my god, that could not be a more perfect place to stop. That's gonna do it for this first episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm planning to do the whole thing because I like Ace Attorney. We did the entire Ace Attorney trilogy, if you never saw that. There were over 100 episodes, so that could definitely, be like 900 afternoons for you. But that's going to do it for this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Sunburned Albino, and I will see you guys next time.